Titan fans, we want your reaction to the preseason game to the Ravens that the Titans fell 23-10. If you had to give one word to describe what went down for the Titans, what would it be? Let us know in the comment section below, and we'll get started with today's show. Welcome in to the winners and losers edition of Titans Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. We are looking back on the Titans' 23-10 loss to the Baltimore Ravens in the first preseason game of 2022 for your Tennessee Titans. Malik Willis had a pretty decent night, but beyond that, things did not go so great for the Titans as a whole, as the Ravens really just dominated on both sides of the ball in this matchup. But nonetheless, we will break down and look at these winners and losers. But with one preseason game in the books and two more to go, let me know, are you excited that Titans football is back? I know it wasn't pretty what we saw from the Titans last night, but nonetheless, a lot of guys didn't play, some of the bigger names. Are you excited to tighten up this year and to have Titan football back? If you are, go ahead and hit the like button on today's video. So let's start off with the injury front. Anenih, injured in the first half, returned in the second half, and it was good to see that he was back on the field after that initial injury he suffered. When we have more updates of that and where he's going there, we will let you know on that front. Also, Kevin Strong left the game in the second half for the Titans, and not a whole lot of information there on Strong's injury. When there's more information, we'll also follow up on that as well. But Chris Jackson left the game with a knee injury. 3 injuries in total for the Titans. Not ideal by any stretch for this team of what they were dealt with in a very physical game going up against a Baltimore Ravens team that was just so physical. For a preseason game, this was not ideal for these guys to get banged up the way that they did in this preseason matchup. Let's look at the winners for the Titans now. Got to start off with quarterback Malik Willis. Didn't see Ryan Tannehill last night, but we did see Malik Willis, and Malik played really good, folks. 6 of 11, 107 passing yards, 5 carries for 38 yards on the ground, and 1 rushing touchdown. And the Ravens defense played pretty well for most of the night, but the problem that they had, the biggest issue, was containing Malik Willis in the pocket. Malik Willis did a really good job of escaping pressure, finding his open receivers at times, and getting out in space and getting that touchdown run. A lot of highlights from Malik Willis for a short amount of time on the field. I really liked what I saw from the young quarterback, and I think that he caught the attention of the entire league for what he did in his performance last night. I think that it was better than even what the numbers indicate. 6 for 11 doesn't tell the whole story here. He really wreaked havoc on that Ravens defense for what he was able to do to get out of the pocket and scramble and create issues for that Ravens defense who could not contain him. So Malik Willis, a winner there. Also, got to look at Racey McMath as one of our winners for the Titans. He had a huge gain, 48 yards on a connection with Malik Willis. It was the longest play of the game, and it was much needed for the Tennessee Titans. You really loved what you saw there from Racey McMath to have that big play. If you haven't seen it, if you missed it, highly encourage you to go look up this play, as I can't do it justice. You got to see this yourself, folks, because it was something else there, what McMath was able to do on the connection with Malik Willis. I think Titan fans got a little excited with that one there. So, with week 1 of the preseason in the books, who is the MVP for the first week of the Titans preseason? Let me know in the comments section below. Give me one name, whether it's somebody we mentioned on the show today or somebody else. Let me know who your MVP is for week 1 of the Tennessee Titans preseason. Next winner is Hassan Haskins, the running back out of Michigan. And the fact that the Titans found Haskins on day 3 of the NFL draft just blew my mind. He was terrific at Michigan. You go back to that Ohio State game in particular. of what he was able to do in that one. And we saw in the limited time that he played last night that he showed what made him so good at Michigan, that extra burst and power combination. He was a problem for that Ravens defense to deal with. I really liked what I saw from Haskins. And look, we already know this team has Derrick Henry and a really good run game, but if Hassan Haskins can come in as a rookie and be a compliment, can give Derrick Henry some plays off and another option in that backfield, that would be great to see. Hassan Haskins, I think, showed a lot of potential in that performance last night with what he was able to do in his limited time, showing off that power and speed burst. He was really good. And also receiving as well, 2 catches for 25 yards on top of that. Then there was Rashad Weaver, who had a sack on Tyler Huntley, and I got to tell you, Weaver was something else, too. 2 tackles in his performance. And this guy, I mean, he's got the build, right? It's 6'4", 259, and it really showed last night, making his presence known. I liked what I saw from Weaver. And then there was one more name on our list, David Anenih, also on our winners list for the Titans. Another good performance from him as he was able to pick up 4 tackles, 2 sacks on the night. Not 1, but 2. I mean, he was a heavy presence and also a forced fumble as well. I mean, just did everything. You couldn't miss him with what he was able to do last night for the Titans. He was arguably the best player on defense for the Titans last night. So even with a loss of 13, losing 23-10 like that, there's still a lot of positives that you can point to from this Tennessee Titans team. It doesn't look as bad as what the score may have indicated necessarily for the Titans. So here on the channel, we are growing each and every day, and we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers before football season begins. So if you haven't subscribed already, why not? Subscribe to Titans Today now as we bring you coverage of this Tennessee Titans team each and every day on the channel. Subscribe at youtube.com/Titans Today and turn on those notifications as well so you never miss a moment of what's going on with your favorite team. Tighten up and join us at youtube.com/Titans Today. Another name that we want to look at on the tweener chart was Julius Chestnut. And Chestnut had 7 carries, 44 yards. That part, pretty decent, 6.3 yards per carry. But it's the fumble part that wasn't great. He did have a 29-yard run at one point in the night, too. So up and down for Julius Chestnut, the pride of Sacred Heart University. The losers, let's get to those. Let's start with Logan Woodside now. Woodside. And Logan Woodside, playing in that quarterback position, coming in after Willis, was not good. Logan Woodside really struggled. 5 of 9, 45 passing yards, and 2 interceptions. Just was off. Could not find that consistency throughout the night tonight. And then we also saw from Nicholas Petit-Frere. He gave up a sack, really struggled on that offensive line. Was not a good night for him on that front. And then we have other names that we want to look at, but before we get to that, of the other names that we have to bring up to you, we do have a question that we want to ask you of the losers for the Titans. Who's the biggest loser for the Titans in Week 1? Is it somebody we mentioned or somebody else? Let us know in the comment section below who the biggest loser for preseason week number 1 for the Tennessee Titans is. A couple more names that we want to get to. Let's talk about Chris Jackson now. And probably the highlight of the night, the biggest play, was when Shamar Bridges, the undrafted rookie receiver for the Ravens, had the touchdown where he mossed Chris Jackson, and it wasn't pretty. I mean, they're going to be playing that highlight all weekend long. He got mossed, and then he also dealt with that injury, too, that we talked about early on in the show. Not ideal for Chris Jackson there, an off night for him. And then to close out, most of the receivers, it just wasn't working. In particular, Treylon Burks as well. I mean, the young guys just didn't get any targets. I mean, they were just MIA. They were nowhere to be found. And when you look at this next era, with this Tennessee Titans team of where they're going with this receiving core after moving on from A.J. Brown. Young guys are going to have to step up, in particular Treylon Burks, and they were nowhere to be found. So not great for these guys that are going to need to step up right away for this Titans team. So with that said, before we go, if you made it to the end of today's Titans video, type Real One in the comments section. Show yourselves out, as we appreciate you being here, even on a loss, to stick around for the full recap of this one. You guys are the absolute best. You are Real Ones. Show yourselves out. Type Real One in the comments section. And for the Real Ones, we have shirts now. We're selling at chatsports.com/Real One, and they come in all types of colors, and they look great, whether you want to be in Titans colors or maybe you want to wear purple or green. I mean, we have everything there, and they're all in one place. Chatsports.com/Real One is where you can find these shirts. Get yours now while supplies last.